In this video, I'll show you how to use Clerk.com to authenticate your users with Strava. So Strava is basically an application. If you're a runner, if you're cycling, working out, etc., basically allows you to track your workouts. And they have an available API where you can get the workouts, the activity data, right? And of course, you can also, the way to do that is you have to authenticate with their API in order to get a token, and then you can use that token to make requests to the API to get the activities and the data that you need. So Strava uses OAuth 2, so this is the flow if you wanted to go and implement it yourself. So the way to do is you imagine a website, you have a button that says login with Strava. That's going to redirect you to the Strava OAuth page. That's where you actually sign in, right? You click authorize, you check the scopes, the permissions basically that you're giving the application. And then Strava will redirect you back to your URL. You're going to get the authorization code and the scope, and then you can use that authorization code basically to make requests to the API. Now, this is fairly standard OAuth 2 flow. You can implement it, you can do it, but it's so much easier if you're using Clerk. So Clerk is a way to manage your users and authenticate them, etc., without implementing a lot of this boilerplate code. So what I did, if you go to, so by the way, you'll need a Strava account, of course, and you'll need a Clerk account. So I've already created an account, logged in. I clicked create new application. So let's call this test Strava app, right? And what you can do here is you could pick different sign-in option. You can do email, phone, username, Google, Facebook, like all of these providers. So let's just leave it as Google, right? Click here. Click to create the application, right? And then let's just set up a simple web application here. So Next.js app. So what I'll do is I'll say npx create Next.js app. So let's do that. Yes. Just picking the defaults here. This is just to show you could use whatever you want. Looks like Clerk supports a bunch of other frameworks as well if you want to use those. So we have that. So now what we have to do on this side is, so just set this up quickly, install Clerk. Let's copy the keys. Let's do that. And then we need to create this middleware file. So middleware.ts. We'll copy this one, save it. We'll add the Clerk provider in our layout. So let's go add it here. Move this down. Let's make sure that we import. And this is pretty much it. So let's go back to, well, I'll actually go back to the page and clean this up a little bit. So we'll just do a simple div. And what you get with Clerk is you get these components out of the box already. So we'll do, we'll add these. So we'll add all missing reports. So what this is saying is if you're signed out, we're going to show the sign in button. So let's say, please sign in by clicking the button. And then we have another section here that says, oh, you're signed in, right? Here's your user button. So we'll just say hello for now. And then we'll add more stuff to this later. So let's run this and let's just see how it works. So localhost 3000, so let's go there. So what we should see is a single button. There you go. Oh, it's not really a button because I haven't installed the shadcn, but I can click on it just so you get an idea. We are redirected to the Clerk's page where you can log in. So you can either pick Google or we can do email. So let's just do email, click continue. Oh, I actually have to sign up, right? So you can do sign up with an email or you can continue with Google. Let's do that one. Let's pick this, continue. There you go. hello, I'm logged in, and I got this nice user button, right? So what I want to do, so let's sign out here. So we want to log in with Strava. So what we could do is I could go through this and implement the whole flow, but there's an easier way to do this with Clerk. So if you select your app, you click configure, you go to SSO connections, and Clerk has an option where you can create a custom provider, right? So we can call it my Strava provider. We'll use manual configuration. This took me a little while to figure out what the URLs are here. So we're gonna get the authorized URL here. And we also need the token URL, which is this one. And then the user info, if you go to their API page, the user info are basically I think it's this one, the athlete one /athlete. So I think this one. So let's do it this. And then you have to do client ID and client secret. So the way you do that is you log into your Strava account, basically go to this URL, and I'll put it in the comments. And it looks like you can only have one application created, one API application. So I created this yesterday, right? But the thing that you need here is you need client ID from Strava to paste it here. And you also need a client secret. So I'll just copy the secret here. And we'll click add connection. So now we've created this Strava provider with these settings. The next thing that we have to do is we have to specify the authorization callback domain, right? So when you click sign in from your application, it's going to go to Clerk. Clerk needs to know, Clerk needs to tell Strava where to redirect it back to, right? So this is the URL that we need to redirect back from Strava. So this is the one that you have to paste in there. Note that there are two of them. One is for debugging, and I'll use this one first just so we can show how it works. But the actual one that you'll have to use is this. And you don't have to use the full URL. Strava only needs the domain name, right? So let's do that. So let's save this one. So application is safe. So this is configured. We'll set the scopes later. And then you can go on a debug here, and you can do a new test run. And if you click on it, so the test run was successful. So this was the actual redirect URL, right? This came from the settings that we configured in Clerk. And then we actually got back the user information, right? So you got my username, first name, last name, my location, whatever, right? And profile photo and all that. So I'm just going to take that. I'll copy this just to show you what I'll do with this. So if you go back to the provider, I just copy this one here so we have it. So down here, you can do some attribute mapping, right? So you can tell Clerk, hey, these are the claims that are coming from Strava, and this is how they map to user ID, avatar, URL, full name, username, et cetera, right? So let's do that. So user ID, it's not called sub, it's called ID in this case. Avatar picture is the profile. So let's do that. Full name, we don't have a full name, so I think I can leave it empty and it's not gonna set it. So username is just username. And then given name is first name, last name is last name. And then email, so there's no email, right? So you'll see that when I'll try to log in, your Clerk will actually prompt me for an email, right? But I think, I'm not sure if this is required or not, but let's see what happens if we remove it, right? So that's set. So let's actually try to set this up in the application, right? So what I'll have to do is I will have to copy this URL because we're not debugging. Oh, actually, let's do debug just to show that it runs. So let's do debug again. So let's click on it. Yeah, so it still works. It's all good. But now notice that the parsed info, so we have the user ID, which we got from here. We have the first name. We have the last name. We have the username. We don't have an email because Strava apparently doesn't store the emails. I'm not sure. I know with Strava, I set, well, there's my email there, but it looks like it's not exposed, right? But there's no email here that we get back. So this works. So let's go back here and let's actually now copy this one. And we'll click edit here and we'll change the authorization domain to this. So now if you would try to debug it, it's not going to work, right? Because we changed the redirect URI. And let me just show you. And we'll actually get an error. There you go, right? So it's going to say that the redirect URI is wrong because the Strava application, Strava app, right, is expecting this redirect URL, right? But when you're debugging, there's a dapi.clerk.com domain, right? So it's not matching and it doesn't work, right? So this will basically fail, right? Or it's going to stay pending, but it doesn't really matter. So let's go back to provider. Next thing, this took me a little while to actually find this switch here. So let's enable this one, right? And I think we have to click save. And then if we go back to SSO connections, now we have a Strava provider with the Google provider, right? So I'm not going to change, I haven't like changed anything in the application here. So let me just sign out here and let's see the experience. So if I go sign in, there you go. So I have the My Strava provider. So let's do that one. Now I'm getting to the actual Strava site redirected to the login, which is great. So let's log in. Yes, because I logged in with Facebook. There you go. And now it is asking me for an email. So let's do an email because Clerk does require emails and we don't get it from Strava. So let's do that. Oh, it actually sent an email. I have to verify it. So you're basically getting the whole experience without implementing anything in your code. So let's do that. Success. Boom. And now I'm logged in and here's my user. Looks like the image is not rendering for some reason, but I'm basically logged in with Strava now. So what I can do now is what you would probably want to do is maybe get like activities, right? So I can get the list of activities. I think it's this one, right? So athlete/activities, this will return me all my activities with all the data, right? So let's try and do that. So let me go to code here and I'll just go to the page. So I'll just use this one. So let's create a function here, async function, and we'll call it get activities. So what we need to do is we need to get the token that Clerk got when we logged in through Strava. So the way to do that is we'll do const auth, and this is from Clerk server, yeah. And then we'll use the Clerk client, and this is coming from, let me just see, I know I had to install something additionally. Clerk backend. Okay, so we have to install the Clerk backend. So we'll do npm install at Clerk backend. There you go. So once we have the backend, then we can use, well, let's import. Actually, I don't even think I need the backend. So Clerk client, looks like it's from there. I don't need this. I thought I needed it, but anyway. So Clerk client, and then from the Clerk client, we'll do users, and we'll get the user's OAuth access token by passing in the user ID, right? And we have to pass in the name of our OAuth provider, and the name you can get here. see OAuth custom underscore, so that's the name, underscore my Strava provider, right? So user ID, oh, could be null. So let's do just empty, right? And we'll call this, what do we get back here? Let's see. So we get back a paginated resource response on custom data. So let's see what's in there. What's in here? Total count. Oh, it's okay. Data. Okay, so it's data, right? So let's get the data back. So to const data. Let's get that back. And in this one, okay, this is now an array of OAuth access tokens. So just log it out. We know that there is one in my case because we only logged in with one, I think. I don't know if there's a case where they could be multiple, but we're just gonna assume that there's one. So let's say token, and then let's just do if data.length is greater than 0. We'll just do like a warning or something, right? Warn, whoops. There's more than one token. Okay. And this is not access token. It's just called token, right? So we have this token. And now if we go back to the Strava API, so we said list athlete activities, right? So this will show you how to make a call. But basically you make a call to, let's do this endpoint, right? So this will be our, let's do URL, will be this. And then you can do before, after, and like how many per page. We'll just default to whatever, just get the 30 of them from the first page. And then we have to do authorization bearer, right? And pass in the token. So we'll do, let's do Strava response here equals await, fetch URL, and then in here we'll do headers, authorization bearer, and then we'll pass in the token that we got from Clerk, right? So we have the Strava response, and the response is a JSON array. So let's just do activities. Yeah, let's just do this, and then let's just return all of them, right? Well, let's just do it that way. Return all activities, right? There you go. So now what we can do is over here, when we're logged in, we can say, you have, let's add a div. Div, I'll say, go. You have get activities dot length, right? Is it? Oh, I have to await. Oh, I actually have to call it. There you go. And then await here, right? Yep. And this will be an async function here. And then we'll use this one here. And we'll do length. You have, it should be 30, right? I think. Oh, it looks like it's saying we have more than one token. Look at that. There's more than one token. Why is there more than one token? There should be only one. But basically, you can see that it works, right? Because we're getting a token here for the provider because we're already logged in. So now if I go back to the page here, why isn't this showing me the token? Let's see what we get back. Activities. Console log and return. Let's see. Ah, okay. All right. Yeah. So that's what I missed. So look at the error here. The error is saying that it's an authorization error and that we're missing activity read permission. So this comes back to these scopes here. So if you look at the authentication page, somewhere here, so requesting access, there you go, right? So you can Well, now that you can, you have to provide a scope that you're requesting. There you go, right? So requested scope, you have to provide them as comma delimited strings. So activity, read all, activity, write. You should only request the scopes that are required for your application. And the scope is required for activity webhooks, right? And I think the default one looks like it's not read, right? Because otherwise it would work, right? Because it's saying read. There's no permission to read the activities. So what we'll do is, let's add this one. So we'll add this scope, click add here, right? So now this one is added. So what this means is when Clerk makes a request for you to sign in, we should be prompted. And if you remember, first time I tried to log in, I wasn't prompted to specifically allow any like reading of my activities or whatnot, right? So let's do that. So let's go back here. I think I don't know, I'm probably logged in now, right? Yeah, so let me log out. So I'll log out, go back here. I'll log out from here as well. Oh, okay, now it's failing. Yeah. Let's, oh, because we're not logged in and now it's trying to do the activities. So let's do, can we figure out if we're logged in? Yes, we can, right? So we can do, oh, if, yeah, there you go. We'll just return and this should be fine. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's sign in now. So now I should get prompted to explicitly allow weird, it's not from, maybe that's not the one. So it's not the activity read. Maybe it's there's another one. Activity read all, maybe? Let's try this one. It should work. So let's add this one as well. Okay. Is this all good here? Oh yeah, I was running into this yesterday. See how I refreshed and then it disappears. So let's do activity read all. Let's try this way. Okay. And I don't think I have to do anything, save or anything like that. So let's close this. Sign in. Okay, Strava. Nope. Nope. Let's close this one. That's odd. Okay, so let me activity :read _ all add. See, it doesn't save it for some reason. So let's see. So let's do first name. Let's see if it's gonna. So it keeps it there. So that's fine. So let's reset. Okay. Let's try again. Let's log out. Let's log in. Strava provider. Ah, there you go. I don't know what it was, but anyway, right? So notice that this icon, right? This is coming from the app that I set up on Strava, just some URL, some domain that I had. But notice this time we have to explicitly authorize, right, the application, our application that we're building, to view the data about, in our case, it's saying private activities because I said read all, but I think if I just left it at all, it would be public data, right? So let's do that. So let's authorize it now. And now we're getting an actual, you have 30 activities because we, well, I only requested first page, right? So let's do this. Let's use V0. And what we'll do is, so let me go back to code. So this is how the data looks like, right? So I'll just pick one. There you go. So I'll copy this one. I'll show you how you can use V0 to create a nice UI, right? So let's say I have this. So I have an array. I have an array of objects that represent a workout activity, right? In this case is runs. Create a UI that shows the list of all activities. And then if a user clicks on it, I want to show a modal dialog with additional information about the activity. This should include, let's see. So there's a map, right? So what I want to do is I want to have V0 generate like a map or like a polyline of my running route. So this should include the drawing of the polyline from the map summary polyline field. There you go. And we'll say make the design look cool and modern. Let's do that. Modern, and here's an example of the single activity. So create an interface or a type for it. So let's do that. So let's paste it in, and let's see what V0 comes up with. And while this is going, I'll initialize shadcn because that's what V0 is using. So let's just do the defaults here. There you go. So notice it created the activity, right? It is using the mock activity, so the one that I pasted in, which is fine, but we have a list of, like we have a full array of them that we're getting back already, so shouldn't be a problem to replace that. And then it created the component to format the duration, to render the map, and then it's doing a dialog here, right? So I can click because I said I want to click on one and display more information. But then I think it should also show the, well, let's see how it looks like. I think is it still building? Cannot currently with API keys? What API keys? I don't have API keys. Oh, because it's using Google Map. Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to use that one, but it was just an example. So let's do, what do we need? So shadcn will need button, dialog, scroll area. So let's install those. Oh, it's add button, add dialog, add scroll area, scroll minus area. Yep. And then we'll also need date functions. So I'll do install date fns and install. And the Lucid icons are already installed by shadcn, I think. So let's add our component here. So we'll just call it, let's call it workout activities.tsx. We'll copy the stuff there. And render map. Oh, okay, so this is the Google thing. So let's tell it I don't want to use Google Map for showing the map. Is there an open source / free version that doesn't require an API key? So let's use that one, but I can remove this for now while that's being generated. And let's see, activities, map, theme, selected activity. So what we need to do is we need to pass in the activities. So we don't need the mock activity. We will have an array of these activities. So let's call this workout activities. And from here, we'll call this activities, right? Activities. And this will be, what will it be? Oh, it'll be activities, right? Activities. I can't type. Let's do this. Activity and an array, right? So we don't need this. We can keep the selected activity. Yeah, we don't need this because we're fetching them. So did it change? Oh, Leaflet. Okay, so let's do that one. So let's install. What do we need to install? npm add leaflet. Install leaflet. Oh, there you go. This looks nice. Right? Oh, nice. Perfect. So this will look great. Okay, so we have that leaflet thing. So I'll copy this. Replace it with the stuff here. Okay. So we're not using use effect anymore. L is declared. Oh, okay, because we have it in scroll. Okay. So we have that, and now I'll just copy. Let's copy everything from here. So we're copying from where? From format duration, right? From here, I think it was to there. Yep. There's a couple of red things here. Render map is not used. Render map. Render map. What? You can't search here? Oh, I can, but where is it called? Let me copy it here because I don't see render map. Oh, okay, so it's in use effect. Okay, so in use effect, we'll do render map. So let's do this, and then use effect, go on load, and we'll do, yeah, there you go. Let's update the import here, and let's see. Oh, and now we actually have to use it as well, right? So over here, instead of logging them out, and instead of doing, well, we can leave that. We can say workout activities, there you go. Use theme, next themes, okay. I don't have npm install next themes. I don't think I've installed that one, I didn't. There you go. So all of my runs, so this one was from this morning, right? Yeah. So the map is not rendering, but I'm not too worried about it, right? But just shows you how quickly you can get stuff up and running. And the other thing that you would probably change here, of course, is where you're getting the activities. You would pass in the, if you want to get the history and all of them, right? You would do the page numbers and start from and end from, or whatever the name they're using per page, and then before and after, right? You would do those. But basically I can get all the information, right? When the run was, the duration, the, I don't know what this one is actually, the average heart rate, the max heart rate, the temperature. Yeah, and you also get, let's actually fix the, why isn't the drawing, like why isn't the render map working? So let's fix that one really quickly. So let's go here. So activities, selected activity, if selected activity, are we actually selecting the activity? We are. So when you click on it, well, let's just do it this way, right? And we'll put the selected activity here, and we'll say if, right? So whenever the selected activity change, we want to re-render the map, if I understand that correctly, but it's not re-rendering it. So let's fix it. Let's do this. I don't want to show the map. I only want to render the polyline. And what I'll do now is I'll say, here's the code that I have, because I don't want to do the diffs. So I'll say, here's the code I have. So I'll just make the changes there so I can copy paste the whole thing over, right? But it's weird. I think it should work. Oh, actually I have to enter here. So let's do that. Okay. I'll modify to remove the map and only render the polyline. Perfect. So that's what we want. So it kept everything the way that I had, all the changes that I already made. So render polyline. Oh, okay. Okay. So it's actually returning an SVG and then rendering it somewhere down there probably, right? Yes. Okay. So wait for this to complete. And then we'll have the polyline as well. There you go. So let's go here. It's not going to work, right? Because I'm not passing in. It doesn't have access to my data, right? So let's just replace this whole thing. And let's see. No, it's not. Why isn't it rendering it? Should be an SVG, right? It is. Is there? No, there's nothing. So let's see. Why isn't this? I wonder if it's, let me see. Decode. So activity map. Let me go down here. So activity is the parent, map, summary polyline. Okay. So it does get it. Let me just see if we actually console, let's just console log it here. Debugging by console logging. Let's go here. And let's refresh. Yeah, so it does get the polyline. And points. So it creates the points. Let's see, console log points. See if we get that. Oh, there you go. I don't know what it was. Maybe just needed to. Oh, I know why. Of course, this was not a run. That was just a workout, right? But yeah, look at that. So I get the polyline of, these were all workouts that didn't have the GPS on. But yeah, all my runs, they'll look pretty much the same because I always run in the same circle. Let's see, morning ride. This was on a indoor bike as well. Yeah, look at that. They all look the same because I always run the same route. I mean, they look very, oh, this one is a little bit different, right? But you get the point. All right. Well, thanks for watching.